I'm just thinking of a TikTok that I just saw of a lady saying, if you ever feel bad about a way that you've overreacted in the past, just know that once my mum saw someone at night time in a high-vis jacket outside knocking on her door, and she thought it was the police to say that someone had passed away. So she was screaming, no, 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 on the floor for 5 minutes. And it turns out it was just a delivery driver who had accidentally gone to the wrong house. I've been laughing about that for the past 5 minutes. Oh no, my makeup. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. My hand really hurts. Right. Welcome back to this channel. Where I was attempting to do no, this really hurts. Yes, I attempted to do a Vlogmas Podmas type thing. Yes, I failed because guess what? Life got in the way. Main channel stuff got in the way. But, shoot for the stars. No, aim for the stars, land on the moon. Because even if I hadn't attempted to do it, I wouldn't have done that much content on both channels. So in a way, I'm still a winner. Now for today's video, this is rogue, this is random. I saw an article that one of the contestants from Married at First Sight did, and I just thought it was interesting and I thought we could go through it. Now I watched Married at First Sight UK this year, first time I've ever seen one of those shows, and it is the last time I'll ever watch one of those shows because I do not condone the weird, the amount of weird abusive relationships and stuff that were on display. It was kind of baffling. I spoke about it at length with Vangelina in, I think, The Problem of Reality TV, I think, that podcast. So if you go check it out on that channel, the pod channel. But just really weird. My hand is really hurting today. I don't know. I think it's from holding my phone like that and being on TikTok all the time. Anyway. So anyway, this guy, Mark, he was on the show and he was a latecomer. He came onto the show kind of halfway through the experiment. I don't know why they did that. And he's done a article with The Sun. Now, in England, a lot of people don't like The Sun. So I feel like I'm kind of doing charity work in a way. Entrepreneurship by reading this so you don't have to click on The Sun. Thank me later. Out of sight. I thought I'd be a huge TV star after Married at First Sight. Instead, it was a Love Island ripoff and left me unemployed. But I don't think maybe it's the show that's left you unemployed though. Let's be real. Mark revealed the desperate lengths he'd gone to get back into work. When Mark Kiley signed up for Married at First Sight UK, he believed he would finally find Mr. Right and wave goodbye to his old life as a customer service manager. Instead, the 36-year-old from London left the E4 show single and unemployed when things didn't work out with husband Sean Malkin. Now, I will give you the rundown of what happened. When Mark is introduced to the show, he did not come across well in the slightest. He came across as quite mean, quite shallow, rude. His mum was doing his laundry or cooking his food, and he's 36, 37? Yeah, 36. He lied about his age when he met his husband. He said he was 30 straight away. When he saw his husband at the aisle, he almost didn't go to the wedding because they didn't have the right shirt that he wanted. When he saw his husband, he was like, I don't feel anything, don't feel any, ragging on his looks basically. And it was all a bit, he came across very, very badly. And then throughout the experiment, they kept talking about his need to be reaffirmed. He was so scared of anyone hurting him in a romantic way. But that fear kind of maybe put the other bloke off a little bit. That's how it seemed anyway when watching it. He's going to unveil some more details in a minute. But he was too needy. He was very, very needy. Because it's a certain type of person that goes on these shows. And maybe they're not exactly because they're not going to have people who are completely at ease with themselves, are they? Because it's just not going to be that interesting. Having well-adjusted people on TV is not going to bring all the drama, and there was a lot of drama in this show. Anyway, Mark believed that he would be living the high life due to the exposure of being on MAFS, but now says he has been forced to take a £7,000 pay cut to return to his old workplace. I thought I'd be living the high life, going to events, doing lots of Instagram stuff, and that life would be better after being on the show. It feels like I was missold a dream. Here's the problem. There's so many of these shows now. There is so many. And I really feel like, what was this on Channel 4? So you're not exactly hitting the international audience, are you? If you're on a show like the Squid Game recently, on the real life Squid Games, which, by the way to completely miss your own point, Netflix. Oh, here's a show about the exploitation of the vulnerable and the working class for the entertainment of billionaires. Oh, that Squid Game, essentially, that's what it's about. Now let's make a real life version of it. Very ironic, like, missed the point. That, though, there were English people on that. I was gonna audition to be on that because there was an open cast audition. You just had to film it on your phone, and I forgot. I'm kind of glad I didn't, though, because I feel like whatever. But that's something that's like hit international audiences. It's on Netflix. You can get people around the world watching that. Are you going to get that many people around the world watching Married at First Sight UK? Not sure. And plus, there's just so many of these dating shows. You know, being on one doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be an Instagram influencer. If you're going to come across as unlikable, then you're definitely not going to be an Instagram influencer. And even like Love Island's really popular, but even by the next season, the previous winners are kind of redundant in a sense. They're forgotten about very easily. I know that Danny Dyer's not, but she's the daughter of Danny Dyer. And that Molly May is in the news, but she's going out with Tommy Fury, and the Furies are always in the news. So it's very hard to make it stick unless you just start doing all of these reality shows. But if you're not that likeable, then you're not going to... He might be a very nice person. And these people, they always blame it on the edit, as if edits can magically make you say mean things, though producers can prompt. Anyway, if I had known I'd only be there for such a short amount of time, I wouldn't have bothered. My match wasn't ready for a relationship and I've had to go back to my old workplace. So unlucky in love, Mark decided to apply for MAFS last year after spending 10 years without a boyfriend. He described having a really bad dating life prior to the show, even appearing on first dates in 2017. Mark recalls bursting into tears when he received a call from MAFS producers to say that they had found him a match and believed he would finally get his happy ending. But after signing up, he claims the show was more focused on creating drama than love, true, and he was disappointed about being one of the intruder couples entering the show later on. He says bosses took tips from Love Island in a bid to make the show even bigger and attract record high viewing figures. He tells us, they told us we would be bombshells, which they later called intruders, and that it was like, did they call them intruders? I thought they just said, oh, here's some more couples. And that it was like Love Island. I'd never watched Love Island, so I didn't know what that meant. They said, put it this way, Ekin-Su was a bombshell, and look at her now, you'll be fine and great. I looked her up and was impressed. Yeah, but like, you're not if they actually said that, that's quite unfair. So Ekin-Su is an actress. So she already had a bunch of media training. So I think she was very good at, and I didn't really watch that, but I'm very aware of Ekin-Su and that bloke who like allegedly has cheated on her and allegedly like putting things up his nose. I know quite a bit about them because I've read articles about them on the Metro. But yeah, Ekin-Su already had a bunch of media experience. So she's done quite well. So to say that anyone's just going to be able to go on and be an Ekin-Su, it's just not true. Can you name anyone else from that season? Let me know in the comment section below. Mark regrets not being chosen as one of the show's original cast and says it made him feel like he was an extra to put in to make up the numbers. It don't really make sense why they introduce people halfway through the show, because it is too late to introduce new people to give a shit about them. He says there were too many couples this year. At one point there must have been 24 of us and everyone was talking and yelling over the top of each other all the time. Mark claims many of the cast told him they were scouted by producers instead of applying, and not all of them wanted to find love. Yeah, no shit. He said, it seemed like the show had a focus on showing young people causing drama. I was one of the oldest there at 36 years old. I mean, he caused a fair amount of drama himself in his little relationship. Sun Pole, would you appear on MAFS if you could? Yes, I'd love to. No, it's a BTEC Love Island. All of these young people are like, I've tried everything to find love. I want to be married, but how could they? Some of them were in their early 20s. They'd barely left their teens. I agree. Some were pretending to be someone else and causing drama just to get airtime. I feel like a lot of the show was focused on that rather than the people trying to find lasting love. He recalls conversations with some cast members who he claims gave tips on how to get more airtime. He says, when we came in, I remember someone asking, have you done TV before? And telling me what to do and what not to do to get more airtime. A lot of them seemed to be in there just to get on TV. Were you genuinely on the show to find love? I thought like everyone on the show was going on just to be on TV. Because if not, would you not just go on Tinder or go to like a normal dating agency that's not televised? I know one couple had decided they would just be friends but kept it quiet because they wanted to stay on the show for as long as they could. I wonder who that was. Ella and JJ. There was a lot of drama. The producers would regularly try to stir problems up and encourage you to say lines they wanted. Mark also claims to be fed quotes by the producers, including saying that his husband's wedding suit looked like it was from a funeral, and comments about his job, which he says he didn't care about. He could easily be saying that, though, because he got backlash. I mean, the wedding suit at the funeral, who cares? But the thing about his job, he kept saying that he worked in like luxury fashion, and his husband Sean was a manager of high street fashion brand, maybe New Look or something, and Mark was looking down upon that. So he could just be redacting it because he got backlash. He adds, other castmates told me they had been encouraged to bring up comments or say things to cause drama too. It does happen, it's true. A Channel 4 spokesperson refuted Mark's claims and insists MAFSUK UK is an unscripted reality series. What viewers see on screen is an accurate depiction of the cast actions and opinions at the time. Yeah, but it could easily be like Made in Chelsea, where they are very much prompted by producers. Okay, talk about like this thing that happened the night before, go more into it. Mark claims some cast members seem to be more focused on partying until the early hours, and it led producers clamping down their antics. We were given a 7 p.m. curfew to return to the hotel because some of the cast couldn't be trusted to go out partying and come back. We were staying near Box Park, Wembley, and some members were constantly going out to get drunk rather than working on their relationships. When the curfew was brought in, you had to be back by 7 p.m. and were allowed to be in other people's apartments until 10. Then the production team would go check that everyone was in their apartment by knocking on their doors to see if they were still there. If they weren't in, they would search for them in other castmates' apartments. They even looked under the beds and in wardrobes in case people were hiding, babysitting them. Channel 4 said, each individual agrees to a standard behaviour before commencing filming, and we take appropriate action on a case-by-case basis if contributors fall below that standard. Missold a dream. Mark's time on the show came to an end early when his partner Sean revealed he no longer wanted to take part in the experiment. It followed him having doubts about the romance and the couple being told in a letter that they appeared more like friends than husbands during one of the show's dinner parties. Mark believes his husband wasn't ready for such a serious relationship. He says they have not stayed in touch and has since unfollowed him on social media. He says, it was really disheartening. It feels like I was cheated. It wasn't great. Mark also claims to be misled by the opportunities that could arise after leaving the show. Instead of living a life of luxury and becoming a massive TV star like he'd hoped, I mean, babe, like you have to, I'm not sure, I don't want to be rude, but you have to like watch it back and view yourself and think, is that person on the screen, are they going to become a massive TV star? Like, did you think you were going to be like, I don't know, Rylan? Because besides being quite mean on the wedding day, this guy seemed quite shy. You're not going to be able to do one TV show and then go on to become a massive star, yada, yada, yada. Look at Zara McDermott. She was on Love Island and then she got with Sam Thompson and she appeared on Made in Chelsea and then she caused a lot of drama on there. And now she started making documentaries. Like, there's a finessing that's going on. You have to finesse these things. You have to hook up with other reality stars and get on their shows. Like, you're not going to be able to do one show and then become a massive star, especially when the market is so oversaturated with all of these dating shows. And if you have like a good vibe and attitude, then you're going to be given opportunities. If you look at Sam Thompson, Zara's boyfriend, who has sort of rebranded himself as a golden retriever, he's got good vibes, so he gets on a lot of shows. He's got good energy. He's a lot of fun, despite being... Everyone, like, forgets this, by the way. He was awful on Made in Chelsea. There wasn't a girl that he didn't cheat on besides Zara, who then cheated on him, which I had no sympathy for, because I always thought, karma. Karma for love bombing and cheating on, like, several different women over the course of the show. You can't go onto a TV show and be sulky and not give a lot and then expect to be a star. That's not how it works. When I went on the show, I quit my job and I missed a prepaid holiday that I spent £1,700 on. I left everything to do this only to come out with nothing. They didn't tell you to quit your job though, did they? They didn't tell you to miss your holiday either. Like, come on, that's self-inflicted. I know it was my choice, but it felt like I was missold this dream that it would work and I would say goodbye to my normal life. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of once these people won the lottery and they won like £20,000 and they partied so much that when they went to check the account, they saw that they only had £200 left because they'd spent it all. And then they did, I think they spoke to a newspaper, probably The Sun, spoke to a newspaper being angry about it, being like, oh, we thought that money would last us forever. We thought it was £20,000, which nowadays, like, I don't even know if that can get you a mortgage. with how stupid everything is. The optimism bias. Tali Sharot, the neuroscientist, she wrote a book about it. I had her on my podcast channel. Go check it out. People have a bias to be more optimistic to themselves and their future. So maybe they don't try as hard. Maybe they don't set themselves up for success properly because they just think that it's going to work out. And I think that's what Mark has done here. He had an optimism bias to himself. Like, obviously it's an amazing thing to get the opportunity to be on TV, but that can only go so far. I'm not sure if complaining to the sun is the best move either. You know, because now, if somehow he was being considered to be a presenter on the next Big Brother, are they going to want to because he's complaining about not being rich and famous? Before I thought, this is great, I could have a husband and a better career, but now I don't have either. It seems like it was all just talk and I was promised a lot more than I was actually given. Luckily, my old workplace took me back, but not with the same role. I've had to take a pay cut to come back because they had already filled my position. In response, a Channel 4 spokesperson said all contributors are thoroughly prepped for the experience of being on Married at First Sight UK, a prominent TV reality series. We stress to all casts that the series should not be seen as a vehicle to gain fame or celebrity and warn against unrealistic expectations of this nature. I think they've had to start saying that about Love Island too. No support. Since leaving the show, Mark says he has struggled to get in touch with many of his former castmates. He told us, it felt like we were all in this together and were friends, but now I don't feel that's the case. On social media, they are like, we support each other, but when I try to ring or message them, they don't pick up or respond. Maybe they didn't like you that much, like, not trying to be mean or anything, but yeah, maybe they're just fake. A lot of them on the show were fake. Did you what? Go watch the show back right now, Mark, and tell me if you want to be friends with half the people on there, because I don't. While Mark's dream of finding love and a better career didn't happen, he says the one positive is that he learnt a lot about himself. Talking to the experts was really useful, and I do think it has helped me to grow as a person. But he doesn't believe this year's intruder couples concept works and hopes it won't be brought back next season. I do agree. Coming in halfway was a bit ridiculous. I don't think it should be an option. Agreed. You feel pushed against the wall because you haven't had as much time as everyone else, and I don't feel like the public like it either. They didn't. Maybe he is aware of the backlash because he seems to be aware of this. There was too much of a focus on the drama and not enough on building strong relationships. There were like none strong relationships. It was all drama. But it wasn't even like that good because you would just have like every episode would be like the intro, a few minutes of recapping what happened last episode, and then a few things like what's going to come up this episode, and then some people talking, and then you've got an ad break, and then after the ad break you go back to the show and you've got a little recap of what just happened before the ad break, and then you've got like 2 more minutes of content. It's not a good show. It's not enjoyable. It's not. But this is interesting because obviously followers on my channel know, because I've spoken about, you know, doing a bit of extra work here and there. We know that producers prompt things. We know how much of this TV is structured, if not scripted. I do feel like TV producers, especially actually with Married at First Sight, all of the uproar about #BeKind and these programs having more due diligence to their participants since the suicides that have happened in the past few years, especially with someone called Mike from Love Island and Caroline Flack, obviously. It's all talk. And it's all talk because, I mean, it's all performative. Because when I was watching this Married at First Sight UK, I was appalled that someone called Brad had managed to get past the vetting system, and he was so weird and toxic and allegedly emotionally abusive and a narcissist, and, you know, love bombing, then devalue, dismiss, manipulator, all of this stuff. It was crazy. And he was paired with this girl called Shona, who was quite vulnerable. She'd had a history of having an eating disorder, and she seemed like quite sweet, quite vulnerable. They were paired together and it was a disaster, and they were asked to leave, but it was done in a way of, we want you to leave because we don't want a lawsuit when this goes tits up. You know, they said, oh, we think that you should try outside the experiment, rather than showing on TV, hey Shona, we think that this man is really bad for you. And because some of the other female contestants noticed, like Laura noticed that she was being isolated from people and that type of thing. But the so-called love experts, which I'd love to see their credentials, said, no, you need to try outside the experiment, because they'd had an altercation that we don't know what actually happened. And that was baffling to me. And there was not even, Channel 4 could have done the bare minimum by putting up a little text box at the end just to say, if you've been affected by anything you've seen, here's some support helplines, etc. They couldn't even be bothered to do that because I guess they didn't want to frame it as this is toxic and allegedly abusive. They didn't want to frame it as that because they don't want to look bad, because they're the ones that have let something like that happen in the first. They fostered the environment for like a narcissist and his victim to be together in the first place. Obviously they don't want to point the fingers back at themselves, but it was just like, oh, all the stuff about hashtag be kind, it's just bullshit. It's just so, and it's always used as a way to deflect genuine criticism as well, which is why I don't like it. But it's superficial. It clearly has no real world value because none of these companies give a shit. They just want to, Channel 4 and the like, they just want to milk as much content and drama out of people as they possibly can. I just thought that article was interesting because it definitely, I mean, no, he can't act as though he was only going on to find love but then complain that he quit his job. So you weren't just only going on to find love. I mean, he says like, oh, a better career, but come on. You wanted to be a star. It didn't work out. That's life. I'm sorry. You had your 15 minutes. You know what? Make a podcast. Everyone's doing it. You can't go wrong. That's all for this video on this chat. I don't know what this video was. I think I've just been insulting people as usual. Silly billies. That's all for this video. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.